As the final installment in this video, looking at how we can make an impact in an increasingly complex world and how we can meet the change by changing ourselves, let's look at simplicity over complexity, because we're facing increasingly complex problems and increasingly complex issues, and often we tend to try and meet complex issues with equally complex solutions. But often the best approach to complex problems are simple solutions. A great example of a complex issue is traffic management, where you have various vehicles, commuters, and pedestrians trying to go in various directions from various lanes all at the same time. And in traffic management, traffic lights are far more pervasive, but roundabouts are far more effective. Traffic lights cause a complete halt in flow, a jolting driving experience. And roundabouts stimulate a continuous flow. They're better for the environment. They're not this jolting driving experience. And also, the returns of roundabouts are real. In the state of Wisconsin, they have about 500 roundabouts and estimate that each saves roughly $5,000 in electricity each year, which comes out at a $2.5 million saving per year just in electricity saved from the roundabouts. Add to this that your average roundabout has only 8 potential points of collision, but your average traffic light has 32. So your probability of an accident increases massively at a traffic light. The lifespan of your average roundabout is 25 years, where the lifespan of your average traffic light is 10. Roundabouts produce reductions in crash fatalities, crash injuries, and crashes in general. They reduce pedestrian injury, reductions in vehicle stopping times and delays. They make traffic flow smoother, faster, safer, better for the environment, and yet traffic lights still proliferate. In Nantes, France, for example, for every 23 intersections, only one is a roundabout. And the list goes on. Traffic lights are a complex solution to a complex problem. We have another option, a better option, and what's stopping us from going for it? I would wager that a lot of the time it's overlearned behavior and sunk cost mindset, which are ideas and mental models that we explored earlier in the series, but it's these ideas and mental models that keep us stuck and keep us proliferating more intersections with traffic lights rather than roundabouts, because it's what we know and it's what we default to. But in a changing world, you're going to come up against an array of complex problems. So will you meet them with complexity, or will you meet them with simplicity? Will you meet them with traffic lights or with roundabouts? And when we talk about meeting complexity with simplicity, a brilliant example is when the Google Maps team expanded and started mapping Japan and India. They realized that in these places, like many others, they did not use street names in the way that many of us may be used to. In Japan, addresses traditionally worked on a block system, and in India, people may not have an address as we know it. How can you create maps and map navigation in places where you can't use street names? Your navigation is going to be like, turn right on unnamed road, turn left on unnamed road. Your destination is on unnamed road. So what the team realized is that in these places, people still navigated using landmarks. So it would be things like temples and shops. And then they changed their definition of what a landmark is. And they realized that streets are a landmark, or they started to view streets as just another landmark. So they're the landmark that many of us may be familiar with, but they're not the only one. And as soon as they broadened their definition of temples, shops, markets, even trees in some cases can be used as landmarks, everything changed. Because suddenly, by using landmarks, they could map the world. So the Google Maps team realized that they could map the world by using landmarks. Another example of meeting complexity with simplicity that I absolutely love is the story from the International Space Station. And this happened in 2012 when one of the 4 power distributor units on the International Space Station broke down. And it needed to be fixed soon because it was impacting the others. So when the astronauts headed outside and went to go and carry out this repair, they realized that some metal shavings had built up around the bolts of the power distributor unit, and it was making it impossible to remove the unit and repair it. They realized that they needed something small to sweep away those shavings, but of all of the billions of dollars worth of equipment and tools that they had, they didn't have a tiny handheld brush. Until someone suggested a toothbrush. And that's what they used. The astronauts taped a toothbrush to a metal grip and were able to successfully carry out the repair, saving a $100 billion space station with a $3 toothbrush. Complex problem, simple solution. The world is changing so rapidly, so fast. The issues that we're going to be coming up against, the complexity could elevate massively, but I would implore you to look for the simple solutions.